The heavy parchment crackled. It felt old, ancient. Its edges were singed as if touched by flame. A crimson seal, stamped with an unfamiliar symbol, held it closed. The scent of lavender and rosemary wafted from it, intoxicating and strange. 4 friends huddled around the single flickering candle on the table, their faces a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The invitation had arrived that morning, addressed to them by name in elegant, spidery handwriting.
It's a prank, probably those kids from next door.
Don't you see, this is different. This is history whispering to us.
What does it say? Where are we going?
Silent, feeling the energy radiating from the invitation, a palpable hum of anticipation and dread.
The old station wagon rumbled down the overgrown path, each bump sending shivers up their spines. Rain lashed against the windows, blurring the view of the sprawling forest that surrounded them. The GPS had died miles back, leaving them to rely on the cryptic directions on the invitation. Blackwood Manor? The name itself felt heavy, laden with unspoken stories.
Feeling a chill run down his spine despite his skepticism. There's something about this place, it's watching us. S3, this is it.
The manor's interior was a labyrinth of shadows and dust. Cobwebs hung like macabre decorations from the vaulted ceilings. Each room they entered whispered tales of forgotten grandeur and whispered tragedies. Portraits of stern-faced men and women lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow them as they moved.
Racing ahead, eager to uncover the manor's mysteries. There's something here, hidden passages, secret rooms.
Documenting every detail, captivated by the historical significance. These journals, these maps, they tell the story of this place.
Drawn to the intricate carvings and strange symbols. There's more to this place than just old stones and dust.
Sarah felt it most keenly, a presence that permeated the manor. It wasn't malevolent, not exactly. It was more like a deep sadness, a yearning that resonated through the very walls. It was in the ethereal music that drifted from the old, dusty piano, in the scent of lavender and rosemary that clung to the air, and in the flickering candle flames that seemed to dance in an unseen breeze.
Seeing glimpses of a woman with long, flowing silver hair and wise eyes. She's here, in the library, among the books. That's where we'll find our answers.
The friends gathered in the library, drawn together by a shared sense of unease. The air crackled with anticipation.
It speaks of a ritual, she said, her voice hushed with awe, a way to contact the other side.
Let's do it. Let's see who haunts this place.
This is dangerous. We don't know what we're dealing with.
But his words were lost in the growing fervour. Even Sarah, usually a voice of reason, felt the pull of the unknown. She knew the risks, but she also knew that some secrets are meant to be unearthed. They had a choice to make, to heed their curiosity or to turn back while they still could. The air grew thick with incense and anticipation. They arranged themselves around an old Ouija board that John had discovered in the attic. Candles flickered, casting dancing shadows on the walls.
Emily began to read from the book, her voice echoing in the silent room. The air grew colder, and a palpable energy seemed to gather around them. Then, silence.
The planchette trembled, then began to move. Slowly at first, then with increasing speed. It darted across the board, stopping on letters, spelling out words. Fear mingled with fascination as they watched, their hearts pounding in their chests. The message was chilling. "Beware the witch's whisper," it read, "for it carries the weight of forgotten sins." The planchette spelled out a name, Evelyn Blackwood. The room grew colder, and the candles flickered as if acknowledging her presence. Emily, her fingers flying across the keys of an ancient typewriter she'd found in the attic, uncovered a tragic tale. Each keystroke seemed to echo the sorrow and pain of a bygone era, revealing secrets long buried.
Evelyn, a beautiful young woman ostracized by the villagers for her knowledge of herbs and healing, had lived in the manor centuries ago. Her beauty and wisdom were both a blessing and a curse, drawing admiration and envy in equal measure. She was known as a healer, a midwife, a woman who understood the secrets of the natural world. Her remedies were sought after, her knowledge revered yet feared by those who did not understand.
But fear and superstition turned the villagers against her. Whispers of dark magic and malevolent forces spread like wildfire, fueled by ignorance and fear. They accused her of witchcraft, of consorting with dark forces. The once grateful villagers now saw her as a threat, a danger to their way of life. They burned her at the stake, her screams echoing through the forest. The flames consumed her body, but her spirit remained unbroken, her final cries a haunting reminder of their betrayal. But Evelyn, they soon learned, was no ordinary woman. Her eyes, even in death, held a haunting gaze that seemed to pierce through the veil of time. With her dying breath she cursed them, vowing that her spirit would linger within the manor's walls, a constant reminder of their cruelty. The mansion, once a place of healing and hope, became a symbol of vengeance and sorrow, forever haunted by the spirit of Evelyn Blackwood. As the story unfolded, a cold dread settled over the group.
John, his usual bravado gone, looked pale and shaken.
Mark, his skepticism crumbling in the face of the mounting evidence, stared at the Ouija board with a mixture of fear and fascination.
Emily, though shaken, felt a surge of sympathy for Evelyn. She vowed to clear her name, to bring her story to light.
Only Sarah seemed unsurprised. She had felt Evelyn's presence all along, had sensed her pain and her anger.
But it was too late. They had tampered with forces they didn't understand, and now they would have to face the consequences. A cold wind swept through the library, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. The once warm and inviting room was now shrouded in an eerie gloom, the shadows dancing menacingly on the walls. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of lavender and rosemary. It was as if the very essence of the room had changed, becoming more oppressive and suffocating with each passing moment.
They heard her voice then, a whisper that seemed to come from the walls themselves. It was a voice that carried with it the weight of centuries, filled with sorrow and longing. It spoke of betrayal, of pain, of the enduring power of memory. Each word was like a dagger, piercing their hearts and filling them with a sense of dread. It warned them of the darkness that resided within them all, the potential for both good and evil that lay dormant within their hearts. The whisper seemed to know their deepest fears and darkest secrets.
The whisper grew louder, transforming into a wail of anguish that seemed to shake the very foundations of the manor. The walls trembled and the floorboards creaked under the weight of the sorrowful cry. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The abrupt silence was almost deafening, a stark contrast to the cacophony that had just filled the room. Silence descended once more, heavy and absolute. It was as if the house itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. They were left in the darkness, their hearts pounding, their breaths shallow. The fear was palpable, a living, breathing entity that wrapped itself around them. They had heard the witch's whisper, and it had changed them irrevocably. The experience had left an indelible mark on their souls, a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. They fled the manor that night, their retreat hastened by a primal fear that clung to them like a shroud. The air was thick with tension, every shadow seemed to move, and every creak of the old house echoed in their minds. The station wagon sped away, leaving Blackwood Manor to its secrets. The road ahead was dark and winding, but they didn't dare slow down, not until the manor was far behind them. They tried to forget their experience, to dismiss it as a collective hallucination. They told themselves it was just their imagination, a trick of the mind, but deep down They knew better, but the memory lingered, a shadow that haunted their waking hours and invaded their dreams. Every night the same images replayed, the same whispers echoed, refusing to let them find peace. They had sought adventure, a glimpse into the unknown. They had been drawn to the manor by tales of mystery and intrigue, hoping to uncover secrets long forgotten. What they found was a chilling truth, that some memories are best left undisturbed, and that the past, however buried, has a way of clawing its way back to the surface. The more they tried to forget, the more the past seemed to tighten its grip on them. The witch's whisper remained with them, a constant reminder of the price of curiosity and the enduring power of the past. Her words echoed in their minds, a haunting melody that they couldn't escape. They carried the weight of her story and the burden of their own choices with them wherever they went. It was a heavy load, one that seemed to grow heavier with each passing day. The manor may have faded into the distance, but the shadows it cast stretched long and far. They knew that no matter how far they ran, they could never truly escape the lingering shadows of Blackwood Manor.